Take two.
Take
right.
two. Hi everyone, it's Justina, also known as That Woman Blockchain on Twitter, and I'm here joined by a very special guest, Ben Goertzel. Hi Ben, how are you doing?
Doing great. Glad to talk to you here.
Yeah, same. I'm really excited. I really liked the presentation you did yesterday. I really like how you're moving forward in the space, and I'd love to get the audience to know about what you're doing.
Yeah, fantastic. So it's been a lot of fun just to be out in the world again, circulating with other blockchain people and AI people. I mean, the last couple of years, been a lot of sitting at the desk working, which has been really productive. The SingularityNET team and I have been building a lot of things, but it's fun to be out there and sort of telling people what we're doing again. So in the SingularityNET ecosystem, we've really been working at sort of concurrently building out every layer of the decentralized tech stack. So SingularityNET, it's a multi-agent system for AIs that lets multiple AIs in the blockchain coordinate together at scale and cooperate to provide various AI services. It's sort of in the middle of the decentralized tech stack. So below SingularityNET, you have a blockchain, right? And we built SingularityNET initially on the Ethereum blockchain because we launched in 2017 and that's what was there then. We've been in the midst of porting to Cardano blockchain, which I'll talk about a bit in my talk in a few minutes here at AIBC. But while Cardano is way better than Ethereum in cost, scalability, reliability, and so on, we're going to do even better with Hypercycle, which is the new Cardano sidechain we're building, which is customized just for AI. Now, on top of SingularityNET platform, there's a lot of other things you need to use SingularityNET to create the decentralized AI ecosystem to power the next phase of the global economy. So we have some deep AI tools like the OpenCog Hyperon system we're building that provides decentralized AGI, artificial general intelligence, on top of SingularityNET. But then we also need dApps delivering decentralized AI in various vertical markets. And these range from Singularity DAO, which is doing decentralized finance on SingularityNET, something called Rejuve, that's doing longevity medicine, and then the metaverse, which is a talk I gave yesterday here at AIBC. So the port of the SingularityNET marketplace to Cardano is going to have metaverse aspects itself. It's going to be a sort of metaverse marketplace rather than just a flat web-based marketplace. But we're also partnering with Hanson Robotics on this special metaverse called Sophiaverse. So we're taking our Sophia robot, which is the first robot citizen, a physical humanoid robot built by Hanson Robotics. We're taking the Sophia robot, we're making 3D avatars that look like Sophia robot and manifest the Sophia character, and we're putting them in the Sophiaverse metaverse so that people can interact with these AI avatars, build stuff together with them, collaborate together with the Sophia AI avatars on making NFTs, and there's a whole token economy in this Sophia metaverse, and there's a whole video game aspect where you gameplay in various future scenarios. So I think this metaverse is going to be a big part of the next stage of the internet, and it's important that this has AI, and in particular decentralized AI, built into it at the core, and Sophiaverse hopefully will be a big part of that.
I love it. But I want to bring it back a little bit because, as we talk all about this technology, there's always that human aspect of it, and it's like the old world and the new world and the convergence of the world. So how do you see us bettering humanity through the work that you're doing?
I think humanity is at a fascinating and unprecedented juncture because technology is advancing exponentially, at least in many domains, in AI and biotech and nanotech and communication hardware. Technology is getting exponentially more and more powerful, and in order that this technology should advance in beneficial directions, human consciousness needs to advance also. And sometimes this advance of human consciousness can be hard to see looking at the world around us, right? I mean, in some moments, I think like, okay, technology is advancing exponentially. Human consciousness is at most advancing linearly, and sometimes even seems to go backwards, right? But I think there's more dimensions to it than that. And if you compare, humanity's attitudes to what they were when I was a child, there's really been tremendous advance in the openness that people have to different perspectives, and the degree to which we can embrace diversity, the number of people who are really embracing mindfulness and radical acceptance of the world as part of their lives. And I think we need to accelerate that. I mean, human consciousness needs to advance exponentially along with the technology, or we're not going to be able to guide technology in positive directions. And I think that the metaverse actually can play a very, very interesting role there, because it's sort of a playground for experimenting with things in a freer way than we can do in the physical world. I mean, in the metaverse, you can be anyone, you can do anything. You can experiment with new kinds of relationships, new kinds of interactions, different kinds of bodies, different kinds of selves, and this can be a very opening and freeing thing if the metaverse is built with human consciousness expansion and human freedom in mind. If the metaverse is just a way to sell people more stuff they don't need, and to channel people into very narrow, consumption-driven personas, then it won't have that aspect, right? So there's a lot of potential in the metaverse, both for AIs to learn and grow, and for people to grow and expand themselves. But we need the metaverse to be built in a diverse, democratic, open way, and it's wide open now. Like that potential is still there.
Yeah, I totally hear your point. I personally feel like that's exactly where we are. We need to take a quantum leap in human consciousness. This is the point we're at, and I think you're right. There is a rising of human consciousness, and a lot of people are working towards that. I mean, I just saw Sadhguru go on Joe Rogan. Yeah. And that gave me a lot of hope, because I'm thinking, Joe Rogan has a lot of influence, and the masses, this is what they're following, and then you have a spiritual teacher, a guide going on that show, and I think that, for me, at least, was a very positive sign. And I was like, or even the word yoga being mentioned by presidents or prime ministers or our leaders. I think we are moving, but I also understand the risk if we don't move fast enough. So I'm for exactly what you're saying.
It's a very interesting and sort of crazy juncture, right? Because you do have mindfulness, meditation, all these things. They're taken far more seriously than they were 30, 40 years ago. I mean, I'm old enough to remember in the 1970s when New Age movement first started, right? But it was quite marginal, right? And this stuff is just tremendously more mainstream now. And for example, a guy named Gabriel Axel Montes, he's building an app running on SingularityNET called Pathform, which is intended specifically for sort of consciousness exercises, meditation exercises aimed at AI programmers, right? So his objective there is like, let's enlighten the minds of the people who are coding the AI of the future, right? And the fact that you can have apps like this built now and they're accepted relatively mainstream, I mean, that's cool and exciting. On the other hand, you've got this war in Ukraine. You literally have, dictators forcing soldiers to go and drop bombs on the hospitals, right? I mean, which is ridiculous. Like, how is this stuff still happening in the world now? It's almost incomprehensible, right? So we've got a tremendous contrast. And again, in Ethiopia, where SingularityNET has had an office since it began, I've been doing AI development in Ethiopia since 2014. On the other hand, the young programmers and scientists in Ethiopia have very modern, open-minded attitudes. They're doing AI development. I mean, you've got Bethlehem Desi, who works with us there. She's been doing programming classes for girls and boys age 8 to 18 in Ethiopia for a number of years now. On the other hand, more than half of Ethiopian kids have brain stunting due to malnutrition. Right? So we've really got amazing stuff and terrible stuff going on. There's tremendous potential for growth, but there's also the other side, right? And I think where I've been living the last couple of years is an island. It's an island in the Puget Sound near Seattle, and it's easy to be complacent in a place like that because almost everyone is progressive minded. Things are very comfortable. You're living in communion with nature in a way, and it's been very comfortable to work on building advanced technology in such a peaceful, beautiful setting. But yet, there's a lot of nasty shit happening in the world, right?
Yeah, and you know what? To add to what you're saying, it's like, but at the same time, it's the pain that pushes people into presence, right?
It can be, yeah. Although my son Zebulon, when he was 12 or 13, he said, Ben, pain builds character, bad character, right? So
you're right.
There's that aspect also. Certainly one can use the suffering, which is just imminent in the human condition, as the Buddha and many others have recognized. One can use that suffering to spur growth and to build compassion with the suffering that everyone else has. It can also have the other effect, right? And technology can be used to help catalyze compassion and empathy and human growth, or it can be used like in first-person shooter games where you're just going into a virtual world and delighting and blowing up everybody else, right? So I mean, there's both aspects there, and the story isn't fully told yet, and of course that's how it should be. That's what gives an exciting edge to life, right? So this is a point where all of us can pull together to help to build a more positive future. And just like biological death gives a certain piquancy to human life, you feel like, well, I've got to have these experiences, I've got to do these things, I've got to open myself up before I die, because otherwise then what, right? In the same way, the fact that we've got a probable technological singularity coming in 1 to 3 decades or something, I mean, this gives a certain edge to all the work that we're doing, right? It's like if we don't wake up humanity now, like then what kind of malevolent singularity might we have in 10 to 30 years?
Well, I have something that may bring. I would like to bring this to your awareness. We're going to live through the biggest wealth transfer that's ever happened, and that's women getting empowerment, women getting money. And I run Women in Blockchain Canada. What I want to work on is doing more education and getting more women in. And women are more focused on social impact than they are just on the financial earnings. So I think it is a pivotal time, but we're going to need to get more women involved in more things like AI, technology, and things like this if we are going to go.
Yeah, it's very important, and to be honest, it's an ongoing challenge as CEO of a cryptocurrency company. So our COO of SingularityNET, Janet Adams, is a woman we hired out of the HSBC in the banking space. So she's always pushing us to hire more women, and we I think do an okay job of it given the nature of the blockchain space, but it's an interesting challenge, right?
Well, and that's why I'm so passionate about working now on a university in the metaverse, because now we're going to remove the barriers that people have towards education. There is going to be no more excuses, you know what I mean?
Yeah, one interesting thing I found in Ethiopia, for example, historically we've tried to hire half women, half men in our office there, and our education program originally was Girls Can Code Ethiopia. Then we opened it up to boys too. It's been 50-50 men and women. But what I see there is, while there's a traditional sexist attitude, pure financial desperation has overcome it. So families are like, I don't care if the woman makes more money than the man in the family. We just need money, right?
There you go. So the primal need versus the gender.
In some cases that happens, but we also have the opposite factor in growing a project like SingularityNET, because while we would like to have 50% or more women in the company, like in the end, we put a job ad out and we hire who applies, right? And it's often not women. I mean, and that's where initiatives like yours are very important.
In fact, we're going to be writing we just published the first academic, it's on the tracks, it's been approved, paper on the metaverse. Our next one is if she can see it, she can be it.
Yeah.
So we're looking at how do we get more women in Web3, interviewing different people who are in this space, and that's what we're